Carol sees a terrible dream one night. In the dream, she and Ollie, the most important person in her life, have a baby together. They are walking him together in a stroller, enjoying the sun and embracing delight, now that their biggest purpose has been achieved. Suddenly, however, they notice that the baby is gone. The stroller is empty, as if nobody had ever been there. Panicking, the couple separates, and in search of their son, distance grows between them to the point where they can no longer even hear each other. Carol runs quickly to find her son, but instead, she comes up to an old car. There, two old ladies are peacefully knitting, and their appearance is so mythical that it seems as if they have been doing it for millennia, and will continue to do it till eternity. When Carol expresses her desperation to one of them, she realizes that she's in good hands. The women have the phone number of their mother, Mary. She will surely help her out. Relieved that there is still hope, Carol takes the phone and dials, but someone by the name of Andrea calls her before she can dial the mother Mary's number. Andrea assures her that it is only a dream and asks her to wake up. He forgot his keys again and wants to be let into the apartment. We don't know who Andrea is at this moment, but once Carol wakes up and lets him in, he sleeps beside the couple as if he were family. The next morning, after they play tennis with their friend Olga, they share their plans with her. Yes, they want to have a baby and are planning to accumulate money for that purpose by renting out Andrea's room. In the meantime, the young man is supposed to find a place to sleep in their room. For some reason, Olga thinks that it is a large stretch for Carol. She must be worried about this, but as the latter says she is doing it for Ollie, she will surely pay her back. The most precious of Carol's memories is that of her great-grandmother. This is the woman who signifies the importance of finding strength and light during the darkest of times. Her name was Diletta, and she is still the one urging her to go forward no matter what. One morning, after waking up, the couple is cuddling in bed when they hear Andrea's grumpy voice, urging them to get up and let the guests in. Clearly, Ollie and Carol are struggling to find intimacy as one other man resides together with them. And additionally, new guests are occupying their house every day. Furthermore, Andrea is acting like an irresistible alcoholic, even in front of the guests, and with that, he's not making the couple's lives any easier. Very soon, we learn the full scope of the situation. As Carol shares their story with the guests, she explains that Andrea is Ollie's ex-boyfriend. Gradually, while speaking about him, Carol becomes more and more frustrated and angry until the tourists fail to understand a single word from the flow of her Italian sentences. Clearly, the fact that this useless, impudent man is still living with them is turning her mad. The following night, a dream happens in which the couple chases a doctor around seemingly endless corridor. There is no wonder that a frustrating dream like this comes before the morning when the couple is going to take the biggest step of their lives. Once the sun comes up, they drive all the way to Barcelona, enter a special facility, and come out of it with a fertilized egg inside Ollie's uterus, having no idea what the child will look like or what kind of genetic background she or he will bring along. They wonder about their future and find joy in imagining it. They are so immersed in this overwhelming emotion of happiness and devotion that everything that happens around them, no matter how disturbing, fails to touch their hearts. Even the insults of an impolite, misogynistic man behind them in a bus, who drills the brain with his wailing, elicit nothing but genuine laughter in the couple. Carol remembers it very well how her father used to handle men such as this one. When complaints would come to him about Carol's boyish behavior, he would send the complainers away with the help of 2 barrels, some gunpowder, and a forceful gaze. Clearly, Carol had a supportive family, and she seems to be motivated to create the same kind of space for her future child as well. This happiness, however, is quickly evaporated in the next scene, when Carol returns home from grocery shopping. So far, she is totally ignorant of the fact that terrible news is waiting for her. But very soon, Ollie tells her that she's on her period. Their first attempt at bearing a child turned out to be unsuccessful. It is true that they knew the road was not going to be easy, but still, seeing their hopes smashed is extremely painful. The grief gets to a point where Carol even starts doubting herself. But their relationship is strong enough to get through this process quickly and start looking forward to the future again. The next month, they will try again. Realizing that they will need much more money, the couple starts looking for a larger place on the outskirts of the city. The cheap neighborhood will have its benefits, but as Andrea stresses after arriving at one of the possible purchases, it will create further chaos in their lives. After they return home that night, Carol gives Ollie one of their usual hormone injections. Hopeful that this time it will work, Carol speaks to their future child in advance. In the next scene, we see them joining a yoga class, which is supposed to skyrocket fertility and prosperity. Clearly, the couple is ready to use any means possible to help this child grow. It doesn't matter what kind of activities this tendency includes. The most important thing here is that this kind of powerful devotion turns out to be successful. One day, while doing an interview with a very famous poet, Carol and Ollie receive a call from the clinic and decide to cut the interview in the middle. The poet is delighted to hear why her interview is being interrupted. Eager to help out the couple, she offers to give them a ride home. The situation seems to be arranging itself perfectly, but unfortunately, one obstacle still arises. Upon arriving home, the couple realizes that they don't have a key. They must call the most untrustworthy person to help them out in this dire situation. Andrea is working as an extra when his phone buzzes in his pocket. He plays a corpse in an open casket, so he has to remain still and quiet. But thankfully, he still manages to remember that he has the keys. Once the cameras are no longer recording, he jumps out of his casket and drives home. Again, it seems that this time the process will continue smoothly. But after running upstairs together with the girls, he hurries too much and snaps the key in the lock. If they don't get inside the apartment soon, they will miss the flight. Using a ladder, Carol appears on the balcony and then breaks inside the apartment to grab their passports. Finally, Molly, their dog, is left to Andrea, and the couple fly to Barcelona once more. This time, instead of a doctor, Carol makes the injection, making the moment that much more meaningful. Knowing that uncertainty lies ahead, they are ready to face anything that comes in their way. The first thing that comes in the way is a struggle they are well familiar with. It's Andrea and his untrustworthiness. Upon arriving back home, Carol and Ollie see a mess made out of their apartment. The plumbing is off for some reason, and Molly is left with Kira, their friend. Their neighbor, Tafel, who's an immigrant here, knows how to do everything, so he offers his costly service to the couple. In the next scene, we get a glimpse into Kira's personal life as well. As it turns out, she has a young daughter, who seems to be delighted by Molly's sudden appearance in her life. Kira also has a husband named Marco, who doesn't really care about the house at all. Kira despises him and his indifference, and curses the day she got married. The next morning, we get a glimpse into Andrea's life as well. For some reason, the fact that the water isn't running again enraged him. His reaction seems quite unnatural, so there is a big chance that some real bitterness and struggle are hidden deep inside his mind, manipulating his behavior in a crooked way. Unfortunately for Carol, she has to be the one to take care of the water problem. This might create bitterness in her heart as well. She's already sacrificed enough by getting used to Andrea's presence in their lives, and now she has to take care of his sudden anger issues as well. To add to everything, Carol receives a call from Ollie that evening. She is sitting in the street, eating a slice of pizza, even though she's gluten intolerant, when she is told another painful piece of news. Ollie is on her period again. The hormones turned out to be useless, and the cycle of hope and despair continues to live on. Every time this happens, Kiara returns to the same terrible dream we described at the beginning of this story. She loses a child she never even had. This time, however, she is the one encouraging Ollie to keep trying. Her words are so genuine, and the light in her eyes seems so real, that she manages to elicit a positive change in Ollie's heart. This is an enormous task her body is trying to carry out, and after standing straight in the face of life's difficulties, they will surely emerge out of this difficult, but meaningful part of their lives stronger and happier than ever. In the next scene, Carol visits her childhood memories. She travels to the village where her mother still resides and sees the people whom she has missed for a very long time. Everyone in the communal kitchen screams when she enters the area. The people embrace her warmly, especially her mother, who urges her to get some rest before dinner. Hoping to see her childhood room and dive into soothing memories, she walks over to it and realizes, to her frustration, that everything is gone. As the mother says, it rained one day and flushed it all away. Now the room is completely different, and Carol's stuff that survived is all stored in an attic. After going out into the streets of a traditional Catholic village, she encounters many colorful personalities and afterwards cycles up a hill nearby to see her grandfather. The old man seems to have a delightful personality. He enjoys everything that grows and attributes the purpose of his life to the soil from which everything comes out and blooms. Finding peace in nature, he finds planting trees for future generations to be the sole meaning of his life. If anybody in this village can understand her, other than her mother and father, it will be him. So Carol decides to share the struggles of her life with him. The old man is a little taken aback at first, but he still has a healthy response. When the two return to the village together, Carol goes to the church and speaks to the father. The padre is one of the men her father used to scare away with a shotgun, so he doesn't really like seeing Carol. Still, their meeting soon takes on a delightful tone. The padre realizes that he cannot change Carol, and accepts her as she is. When the time comes, only Jesus Christ will have the authority to judge her. And so, Carol sees a lot of people from her past, but she avoids meeting one of the most important ones for some reason. It is her brother. The mother soon urges her to change this fact. Nicola loves her and cares for her. If she's going through some tough times, he will be more than happy to embrace her warmly and be there for her. Carol tears up after this conversation with her mother. Deep down, she wants to become a mother too, but compared to her, she has to go through a ton of struggles to raise a child. Naturally, the mother doesn't need much to realize what is going on in her daughter's mind. All she can do, however, is soothe her pain with a warm embrace. When Carol goes back to her life again, we learn what she does for a living. To accumulate some extra money, she and Ollie seem to be giving cooking lessons to some English guys. They spend a lot of money on recipes and ingredients. Sometimes they don't even make any profit out of it at all. But Carol, who seems to have no idea how business works, still believes that what goes around comes around. Tuffail, who hears about this theory, is angered by her cluelessness. Perhaps he will be willing to teach her a thing or two about how to make money. In the next scene, the English guy is introduced. He looks like a hippie version of Eric Clapton and seems to have a wonderful personality. Even though the lessons the couple give him aren't very profitable, they appear to be having a hell of a time together. Renting out the apartment, cooking lessons, and journalistic work appear to be everything they do to accumulate money. Thankfully, it is enough to cover the cost of hormones. But unfortunately, this time, they need something more to travel back to Spain again, where adopting a child is legal for same-sex couples. That evening, Andrea proposes something logical, but disgusting. He offers to get in bed and have a child together. What is even more disturbing is that he wants money too. His proposition is so inappropriate that surely it must be a joke. Naturally, the girls decline this offer wholeheartedly. Carol is forced to take care of some terribly expressive gestures in the next scene. The woman sits on her nerves and demands that she's taken to the airport, since she's afraid to drive in this city. Unfortunately, Carol doesn't have a driver's license, so she calls Tuffail for help. As always, the man is there for her. He takes both to the airport and watches as the woman pays them with Chinese currency. So far, neither he nor Carol have any idea that yuan is worth much less than euro, so they end up being ripped off. Instead of getting paid 50 euros, they end up receiving only 6. Once more, Tuffail is enraged at Carol for being such a fool at business. In the next scene, the insecure Andrea refuses to eat and starts taking care of the apartment. He is hoping to lose some weight because he's been recently dumped. In his scene, his ex-girlfriend calls and asks to get back together. Naturally, the man is delighted to hear this. If everything works out, he will even be able to move in with her and leave the couple alone for good. There is only one problem, though. He has no money to pay for the upcoming date. So far, Ollie has been helping her financially, and he's been taking her money carelessly, even though he knew how much she needed it. In this instance as well, he asks to be given money and takes 100 euros off of the family. They accumulated that money by selling their beds. So far, we haven't seen a serious conflict between the couple, but this time, we see a glimpse of how they argue with one another. Naturally, Carol is extremely mad at Ollie for giving away their money like this. They have been trying to save up for their next visit to Spain for a long time, and to throw the money away in this manner is extremely foolhardy for Ollie. Additionally, this situation has a different aspect to it as well. Ollie is giving money to her ex-boyfriend. It doesn't need to be explained why Carol is bugged by this detail. It appears as if Ollie cares for Andrea as much as she cares for their future baby. To fight back, she bitterly says that Andrea is like a brother to her, and brings up the subject of Carol's brother as well. This subject seems quite painful for the girl, and for Ollie to use this card in this instance appears to be extremely unhelpful. Memories come back to Carol. Her brother has always been the one with whom she enjoyed plundering the most. In the next scene, we see her sitting beside him by a huge tree. After speaking about ordinary stuff, the important ones enter the conversation as well. Even though they were the closest people to one another for years, now they scarcely even talk with one another. Everything seems to have started when Nicola went against Carol's plan to have a child together with her girlfriend. In this moment, both of the siblings are going through a rough time of their lives, and neither of them seems to be willing to listen to each other. Unfortunately, the conflict between them hasn't been resolved. Being at the village, memories come back to Carol once more. She shares one of the most important things with her brother, and it is childhood. Coming back home, Carol and Ollie find a note at their door. Immediately, they think that it's an electricity bill or something of that sort. But what it turns out to be warms their hearts and assures them that kindness still exists in these words. The letter is from Carol's grandfather. As it turns out, he's been saving money for his entire life. And now that the end is breathing over his shoulder, he wants to take it somewhere meaningful. He wants to become a great-grandpa before his soul transcends this world. So he sends everything he has to Carol and Ollie. At the end of the letter, he eulogizes the two, writing that he and his wife used to eat from the same plate, but they were so in love that their financial problems were secondary. After reading this letter, the couple is sure that nobody can stop them now. To conduct the in vitro fertilization procedure in Spain, the couple leaves Italy very soon. On a ship to Barcelona, Carol becomes a little anxious about the future. With IVF, it is often possible that the second egg fertilizes as well, and the parents end up with twins. Now, going towards this uncertain future as hopeful as ever, Carol feels a cold breeze down her feet. Perhaps she even doubts that they won't be able to handle two kids at the same time, both financially and emotionally. But Ollie's heart is completely immune to that fear. She knows that everything is going to be all right. And this attitude of hers is transmitted to Carol very easily. Life keeps sending signs to the couple the next morning, until yet another session of IVF is conducted on Ollie. The signs continue to occupy the space around Carol within the course of the next few scenes as well. When a party is thrown in their apartment to honor their courage and devotion, Carol finds Ollie in the bathroom. She holds a pregnancy test in her hands, but Ollie fears the answer too much. Feeling as if her heart won't be able to handle another disappointment, she takes it reluctantly. Ollie shakes in the face of the immediate future, but Carol feels the opposite. For some reason, she can feel that this time the test will be positive. Before they can know the answer for sure, Andrea comes inside the bathroom and interrupts their moment. When Ollie says that she cannot look at the test, he is the one taking it off of her. And so, the couple hear the most delightful news from Andrea. The man congratulates Carol and Ollie wholeheartedly, kisses them on the foreheads and walks out of the bathroom, leaving the girls to their own devices.